Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here this morning with Anthony Wu, co-founder and owner of Climatisation ACG, a heating, ventilation, and cooling company here that services the West Island and Montérégie regions. We're going to be discussing the Homeowner Advisory Club and Anthony's unique approach to servicing his client base, as well as how the club has benefited his business. We're also going to talk about some interesting developments in the heating and cooling industry. We'll talk a little bit about government grants and how people can take advantage of those when it comes time to upgrade their system. And we're also going to talk about how Anthony is giving back to his community and empowering homeowners to make great decisions. Anthony, thanks for joining me. Great to have you here again.
Well, thank you, Sean, for having me. It's always a pleasure helping out and, for the work that you do for us in the community.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about your unique approach to your HVAC business. I met you a few years ago, and I immediately connected with you, and I think we had a common philosophy around how we serve our community and our client base. And I love the fact that you've taken a very different approach with how you handle inquiries and clients who reach out for help with their HVAC systems. Typically, when people reach out for an HVAC tech, it's a break fix situation, right? It's usually in the middle of a heat wave or a cold snap and their system breaks down. And typically what happens is an HVAC company will send a technician out immediately, charge the homeowner a few $100s for somebody to show up and take a look at things. You immediately took a very different approach to how you handled those calls from the community. Can you explain a little bit about how you're different and why you decided to do that?
Absolutely. So that is a very interesting situation that was kind of became out of necessity. Unlike bigger companies, I don't have 20 trucks on the road that I need to feed. It was me and my partner, and now we're three trucks. But when we started, we were just one truck, and it was a matter of trying to help where we can, how we can, because just amount of calls we cannot show to everywhere. So we figured a way that, hey, let's offset timing by offering help first instead of rolling out a truck and not requiring an actual service. If I would roll out a truck and have to charge for just a filter change, that is wasted time from a client that can benefit from something that's actually needed. So the simple stuff I try to filter out over the phone calls first. Hey, try your basic, check your filters, check that your machines are clean, check your breakers, try to reset your system. Those are three very basic steps that anybody can do by themselves and can typically solve 75% of the issues. When I realized that, it also became a mean that established trust between me and my clients. Not only was it because I was way busy, it was a way that clients was able to see, hey, he's not just there to make a quick buck. But in reality, that was never the intention. It was because I cannot get to them. So I had to think of ways that I can help my clients before having to show up. And I think that is how, my service philosophy had came to be.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think that's why immediately had an affinity for the way you were handling this, was because I'd had feedback from clients who would call a company and they'd send out a tech just to do what you said, literally turn a breaker on or change a furnace filter, and that got people upset. So I really like the fact that you took time to troubleshoot with people over the phone. And I've heard now you're going so far as walking people through, and I know you're creating a ton of content to educate homeowners so that they can avoid the systems breaking down, right? So it comes down to maintenance, it comes down to changing your furnace filters, and you're also getting on the phone with people and even getting on FaceTime and having them kind of walk you through and show them their systems. So I thought this was really cool that you're actually doing this for free. Like you said, you're developing trust. I love that about you, and I think the community has really uh, responded to it really, really well. And I think the fact that you pretty much work completely by referral and word of mouth speaks to the fact that you've developed that trust in the community. You have that integrity. And I think it aligns very well with kind of what the approach we've taken on the real estate side. So can you talk a little bit about if somebody calls you and they've got a broken down heat pump in a heat wave, what would that start? How would that conversation begin?
Yeah, so typically So that ties back into a little bit of how we're trying to utilize technology to our advantage and helping as many as we can. And the reason why we create the content is because when we see a repetitive question that I have to keep asking or going through, those are the type of content I want to put out. So for anybody that wants to follow along, you could go to our Facebook page, Climatisation ACG, and follow a lot of our helpful guides. If you have exhausted through the self-help stuff, if we get a call still, we would typically ask you to do the same three things that I've already mentioned. Have you checked your filter? Have you checked if the machine outside is clean? Have you done a reset? Especially with the more modern machines, there's a lot of sensors that can bug out, lock out, or whatever due to dirty filters or dirty units outside type thing. So typically, those are the first three steps. If it's a water leak, we have solutions. We recommend, hey, are you able to access the drain? If not, then we'll come out. But if, hey, yeah, I do see the end of the drain, then we'll go to next steps. All right, this is what you can do. Call us back within 24 hours if you see anything else. We stop there. It's not like, yep, let me book you a truck right away. It's really about, all right, what can you do? Call us back if you need any further help. The fact that they already called, they don't have to be afraid that they lost a position because our system has them on our log that, all right, they called yesterday, now they need follow-up. They will still get to keep the position in line when we're in our busy season. So it's not like we're telling you to call us back and then you throw you in the back of the line. So that is typically how our process is going to work is we'll try to go through the basics. We have also been working on launching an AI that will help us pick up those calls that when you call us, if my system's busy, you have the option to go through our AI troubleshooter in the near future to go through the same basic steps. Instead of me repeating it, it's something I've learned about running a business is optimize, delegate, automate. So we're trying to really encompass as a smaller business that's the direction we're trying to head into, try to help as many people as we can, as efficiently as we can.
That's amazing. We're doing the same thing in our business, so there's a lot of parallels there. Can we switch gears a little bit? I get a lot of questions from our clients when it comes time to discuss putting their home on the market, doing upgrades, or people who have just bought a home. And a lot of the systems here in the West Island are old, and a lot of people still have oil furnaces. They still have, these kind of old furnaces. Can you explain what's happening with oil? What kind of government grants are available to people, and what you recommend people should be doing when it comes time to upgrade those systems, whether they're like it would probably be would it be a different approach for someone who's selling versus someone who's buying and planning to live in a house for the next 5 or 10 years?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question to have. We're encountering a lot of that situation as well, where clients are just not sure what's happening. They're not aware of the grants that are out there. So currently, there is the grant for removing oil. Hydro-Quebec has a program called hvac that offers it's by the size of your machine. So the bigger the machine you need, the bigger the grant gets, anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000, give or take. Because oil is being phased out by 2030 here in Quebec, at least.
Mhm.
So typically right now, any oil tanks are older than 15, 20 years, I believe. The oil company is not even going to service them anymore.
Yeah, and the insurance companies won't insure if the tank's more than 15 years old.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, we're 5 years away from the phase out. So our recommendation is take advantage of the grants, and it's a very simple to do. Once you select your machine during our consultation, we'll size out your house, tell you what you need, what grants are available with that specific machine, and to apply for the grant, you apply on Logivas, fill up the form. You send pictures of the indoor machine, the outdoor machine with the model and serial number, and it has to match our invoices with our RBQ number, and that is it.
So it's pretty simple.
It's a very simple process, very painless. It's
So that would be typically be switching out the furnace for a new electric furnace?
correct. That's from going from oil to electric.
Okay, and what if they've already got a heat pump? Does the existing heat pump stay, or does that have to be changed as well, if it's still in decent shape?
That would require the heat pump to be changed, because the grant is actually for the heat pump.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So can somebody maintain the existing furnace and just add a new heat pump if the furnace, let's say, is electric, but it's very old?
Absolutely. So this is that's a caveat actually. Something that I'm actually going through with Scott and his place. He has a AC only with an electric furnace.
Yeah.
And one of our options was to really just change out the heat pump because you get the same amount of grant without changing your furnace. Now, I would guess why would we do that? The reason is the newer furnaces, they are heavily in relying on technology and sensors, control boards. very expensive parts.
Like our new cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have a old school furnace, yeah, old school, where things are very easy to change, parts are readily available, things that I keep in my truck. I don't keep $1,500 control boards in my truck.
Right.
I keep $8,500 relays the way that things are used to be done. Motor's a $600 motor type thing. It's easy to get, still available. So to me, if you have the opportunity, if I believe that casing, the structure, everything is good, I recommend just keeping your furnace and we'll go and upgrade your heat pump and get the grant. That way you maximize what you get, best bang for the buck.
That's great advice. You could keep an old oil electric furnace, which I
Yeah.
have in my rental property, upgrade the heat pump, get the grant, and you're good to go. Okay. Switching out the oil furnaces, you guys do that?
Yep. We have a contractor that will empty out the tank, clean everything up, remove everything. Any job we do, we don't leave anything at our client's place. I have a scrap that come with us. If he's not available, we carry everything with us and we get rid of everything on site.
Okay, interesting. So I think that's a great move from a real estate perspective. I know when I'm advising clients, a lot of the homes we're about to sell have an old oil system. So what we will do is advise the buyer that probably something they may want to look at doing in the short term when they're buying this kind of home is come in, benefit from getting the grant once they become the owner, switch out the oil furnace, and then you can benefit from getting the government to subsidize that change. And that really does increase, in my opinion, the value of a home. Nobody seems to really want to deal with oil anymore. So everyone's moving to electric. And for sellers, I think if the oil system is still functioning, there's an option there. You may want to take advantage of the grant as a seller, put in the electric system for the new buyer, but that does require a minimum 200 amp electrical entry, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. That is that's another caveat that has been debatable with some homes electrical are already updated, some homes are not. And you're right, the typical home that has oil system or natural gas are only running on 100 amp service.
So there we have to bring an electrician in. We got to get a 200 amp service brought in from Hydro Quebec. So that's going to add a little bit more cost to it. Are there any grants for the electrical side of things?
That I'm not aware of. We would have to consult an electrician for that.
I
We
don't
bring
think
in an
so.
electrician for that, for them, but I'm not sure there's any grants for just upgrading your panel, but it doesn't create any kind of home efficiency. Hydro Quebec's already offering a grant for the heat pump.
Yeah, got it. All right, let's change gears a little bit. I'd like to discuss a little bit about what your experience has been as a service provider in our Trusted Service Providers directory as part of our Homeowners Advisory Club. We refer you with enthusiasm because, for all the reasons we've just talked about, you're a phenomenal asset, I think, to the industry. And I wanted to get a little sense from you what it's been like dealing with people who are part of the Homeowners Advisory Club and how it's benefited your business.
That is amazing. First off, I really want to thank you for adding me to your home advisory club. You added me before I even started my own company. You guys saw trust in me and before I became who we are today as a company. So that's something that I'm really truly grateful for. So anybody that's part of your home advisory club, we absolutely take care of them. If you let us know that, hey, the client came from the home advisory club, we will give you guys a little bit of a priority to make sure that we can service you guys because you guys have put a lot of trust into us and have referred us. Not only your trust, but because you guys have been around a lot longer than I have, and you guys have established a reputation, and you entrusted me with your reputation, and that is something that I truly respect. And if I refer somebody, expect that whoever I refer represents us well. And I definitely take that to heart when you refer us to your clients, that we have to uphold your reputation as well. And I think that's what strives for us to do better. And the fact that you could, the home advisory board is also clients that are there to that understands value in what we do, makes it a lot easier for us to explain and they can already see the value that we can provide to them. Once we showcase the data points that we have, it makes it a lot easier for them to understand. And they don't have to worry about what is this guy going to do. When they call me, they know that we're going to do something right for them and do right on behalf of the home advisory club as well.
Yeah, well, it's great. I think it's a win-win situation. Our clients benefit from great service providers like you, and I think for you, you get a sort of a different quality of client or a different mindset of client from somebody, let's say, who finds you just on Google, for example.
Absolutely. So that is one of the things. It's not to throw shame at anybody, but there's definitely different markets. There's people that are looking for the cheapest,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be people who are looking for value. So I see the home advisory owners or participants, homeowners, are people who are looking for value, and value is what we provide. Service is what we provide. I know we're not always going to be the cheapest. There's always going to be cheaper out there, but I truly believe that dealing with people that understand value is what we can provide. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we align on that as well. We feel the same way. There are always people who are looking for the cheapest real estate agent as well, and but we feel that we do provide the value similar to your philosophy, and people that recognize value, they're great clients to work with. We have a great reciprocal relationship.
Yeah, so after getting experience of part of your homeowner advisory club, I was curious to also know what prompted you guys to start that. I was invited into the club not really knowing what it was. At the time before I started my company, I was like, sure, any referrals that's great for me. I was very excited. I never really took the time to ask you guys, what is this club? I just know, hey, Sean referred me to you. Awesome, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you asking, Anthony. Similar to you, we started to see again and again, and I've been doing this. This is my 25th year in real estate, and over the years, I started to realize, and I was doing this intuitively, right? I had guys like you in my Rolodex, in my contact list, so I was always getting calls from clients. Do you know somebody who can take care of my furnace or my heat pump or my roof? Do you know a good electrician? Um, and so we started to realize, a little bit later in my career when I partnered with Scott, we started to think about how can we sort of create a system, and it evolved into the club where we're going to take an approach to educate homeowners, create a community of homeowners, and empower them with knowledge. So we began by creating content around that and developing close relationships with trusted service providers, because we realized homeowners had three problems. One, they didn't know what they should be doing often when it came to the maintenance and when it came time to renovate or when it came time to make design decisions in their house. Two, they didn't know when they should be doing specific things, like when should they be executing these maintenance things with their foundation, their roof, their furnace, their attic. And third, who they can trust. So it was, what should I be doing? When should I be doing it? And who can I trust to do it for me? And that's the problem that the Homeowners Advisory Club strives to solve. So who can we trust? It's meeting over the years with service providers like you and sitting down and explaining that we're the connectors basically, right? So we've got this community of past clients, current clients, and others in the community who are not in the mode of buying or selling real estate. The club is for anyone who owns a home. And what we want to do is connect great service providers with people in the community so that they have somebody that they can trust who's going to take care of them, not screw them, and give them great service at a fair price and offer value. Then we decided, well, the second part of this is educating people about what they should be doing. So it's things like, if you've been in your home for more than 5 years, probably a good idea to get it inspected. Find out what's going on in your attic. Find out if there's a problem with your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC system, the main systems of the house, that when these things break, they're very expensive to repair. And by doing preventative maintenance, people can save a lot of money over the long-term ownership of their home. And then it's, um, you know, what should I be doing? So people often don't realize things like, hey, should I just replace my oil tank? We've seen a lot of people recently just replace an oil tank. And it's like, they may have wasted some money there. So what should I be doing? Well, you should probably be taking advantage of a grant and switching over to electric. Or renovations. What kind of renovations add the most value if I think I'm going to sell my house in the next 3, 5, 7 years? Maybe you don't want to do something that's very personal, that when it comes time to sell, it might be money that you're not going to get a good return on. So it's about empowering people to make great real estate decisions. We always view the home as our biggest investment. So this is all the philosophies around empowering homeowners through the Homeowners Advisory Club. So thanks for asking.
I love it. I mean, that is why I think we clicked so well together, because one of my core values in my business is empowerment. So that's absolutely, really, really work well together.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. Great relationship. We have a lot of people in the Homeowner Advisory Club, service providers who are giving great feedback, or so not great feedback, great service to our clients. And I love to get that feedback. I know we always share it with you, like the clients that you guys go and see, they just rave about the service. So thank you for that. Let's change gears a little bit and talk about another sort of core value of both of our businesses, and that is our philosophy around philanthropy and giving back to the community. And I know you've been very active with, you guys do a few different things in your community to give back. Can you explain a little bit to our viewers what you guys are doing to give back?
Absolutely. So typically, well, traditionally, we have three core charities we like to participate in annually. It's a school bag drive just before school starts, a Christmas drive where we find families that needs food basket, toys, whatever the need is. We try to sponsor a couple families, and then around Mother's Day, my sister and I will get together to try to fill up women purses to with female hygiene products and deliver them to women's shelters, type thing. I felt like just having 3 events wasn't enough for me. So to encompass our value of community, what we started doing is also showcasing local community small entrepreneurs that people may not know about. And something that I found very interesting that a lot of people don't realize is the why. Why are these entrepreneurs in business? And if you guys want to see some example, follow my page. I explain my why, and I start interviewing other business owners just to see why. So to help our community connect with local entrepreneurs. You
I
know,
love that.
especially with the political landscape nowadays, it's crazy, and I find that community is where I started, and when I have the opportunity to help our community, that is what I needed to do.
So I think you're doing a lot about what our philosophy was around being that connector, right? You're a connector between other entrepreneurs, right? Kind of like what you and I have, we've had these little discussions, not only just about referring clients, but also about how we can help each other grow our businesses, right? We've had great conversations, almost like little entrepreneur masterminds. And I think you guys are sort of taking that approach with other small businesses in the community. And I think that's fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah, that's what we do, and I've seen also on social media some of the stuff that you guys do. One thing that caught my attention was that fur coat. I read a little bit about it, but tell me more about that fur coat.
So the fur coat is something that came out of the Royal LePage National Sales Conference. So that is every 2 years, National Sales Conference. There are 20,000 realtors across Canada under the Royal LePage banner. And I do want to mention Royal LePage is a fully Canadian company. So if you're supporting a Canadian business, Royal LePage, they're phenomenal. They started what's called the Shelter Foundation. And shelter, right? We're in housing, or we help people buy and sell houses, help homeowners. So natural sort of philanthropic, I guess, endeavor for the company, the national company, was to create the Shelter Foundation. And it's Canada's largest philanthropic organization dedicated to helping women and children escape violence. So the way it works is realtors from across Canada will raise money for the Shelter Foundation through various endeavors. And one of them is our big national sales conference. We do an auction, a live auction. This amazing auctioneer, he owns a bunch of offices. I think he's just getting into retirement, Kent Brown out of Ottawa. He used to be a professional auctioneer. And so he auctions off all these, so people donate before the conference, all these amazing things, whether it be hockey tickets, a week at a cottage, fancy cases of whiskey. And one year in 2008 it was in St. John's, Newfoundland. A couple of the guys were out and it was freezing cold, and they walked through to a value village, like a village de valeur, and they bought this fake fur coat. It was listed for $3.75. They notoriously bargained the price down to $1. They bought this coat and they brought it to the conference, and then it was like a big joke. It's this funny fur coat. And then the following year, Dave Schultz, one of the guys who's still with the company, awesome guy, friend of mine, he actually brought the coat and thought, hey, why don't we auction this off, this faux fur coat? And so the idea just started to snowball. So they auctioned off the coat, and years later now, this coat gets auctioned every 2 years at the National Sales Conference, and whoever bids the highest gets the coat, and you get to embroider your name inside the coat, and it's raised to date almost $250,000 just from the live auctions. So myself, and 7 other realtors or 8 other realtors, can't remember, from across Canada, all from different provinces. We all pooled together and we put our name in, and we all committed a certain amount of money. And for, I think it was just over $20,000 it cost our group to win the auction. And this year we each get the coat for a month. So I'm now in possession of the fur coat, and I'll go get it and I'll show it to you. So the fur coat is basically a symbol of the support for the Shelter Foundation. And we support all the money that we raise here through our company goes to our local shelter. So 80% of the funds goes directly to the West Island Women's Shelter, 20% of the funds goes to the Shelter Foundation, and they use that money for education programs for youth, to educate youth in high schools about healthy relationships, try and break the cycle of violence. So the company is very committed to this. Scott and I are both top 1% donors out of 20,000 realtors to the Shelter Foundation. We also give a portion of every commission we make for the sale or purchase of a home. We give a portion of that commission on every sale to the Shelter Foundation. So that helps put us in that top 1% of donors. I bid on the coat with this amazing group this year, so I've got the coat, and we've been using it to fundraise. So we're gonna go around the little village near our office, and we're gonna be meeting with business owners in the village and having photo ops with the coat. And people will then I'm asking them to make a donation to the Shelter Foundation, because aside from the coat, I am also doing my 4th charity trek to Cambodia this year. So the company organizes this charity called Charity Challenge. So I did the first one, which was in Peru. We trekked through the Andes to Machu Picchu. I did one in Iceland with my wife Kim. We did one in Morocco, and this is going to be, the next one is going to be in Cambodia. So it's sleeping in tents, trekking through the humid, hot jungle. Got to deal with snakes and crazy critters. So they're really tough, these challenges, about a 25% dropout rate. They're just so difficult. But really looking forward to the challenge. So I'm using the fur coat to fundraise, and I'm hoping that people donate towards my fundraising for my charity challenge in Cambodia, which is going to be this October. And I'm hoping to raise minimum $10,000 for the West Island Women's Shelter.
Well, that's amazing. We should definitely look in further in how we can collaborate as well to, rally the community together to, help with such an amazing cause.
Absolutely. I'm going to go get the coat. All right, Anthony. So this is the famous fur coat. As you can see in here, this was this year's, there's my name. So Coast to Coast 2024. These were the people that donated to win the shelter auction. And you can see all the names of people who have bid on the coat. So it's great. It's an awesome fundraiser. It's really stylish. It might be a little warm to wear through the jungle in Cambodia, but we're going to do some cool fundraising with the coat. And as you can see, it's really high quality. That $1 coat from the Value Village has raised, I think, close to $250,000. So
That's incredible, finding something that can create such symbolism and create such amazing purpose.
it's a really cool story, a testament to really cool people that work for Lepage. So I'm really proud to be part of this company.
Now I'm going to think of something that we can do at ACG.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Yes, sir.